Hi everyone, it's Ashley Nguyen, your counselor here at the Huntington Beach Adult School. Today I'm here to talk to you about domestic violence. Did you know that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month and that the color purple is associated with domestic violence? Purple symbolizes purity, hope, and loyalty. In this video, I would discuss the different types of domestic abuse and provide you with community resources. Domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain or maintain control over another intimate partner. The abuse may occur during or after a marital or dating relationship. Domestic violence is about power and control by using situations and other people to control the victim, intimidation, emotional abuse, isolation, the children, economic control, or denial and blaming the victim for the abuse. Remember, domestic violence is often subtle and almost always deceitful and pervasive. Verbal abuse is any abusive language used to demean, embarrass, or threaten the victim. Verbal abuse is not always a bad word. It could be the tone of voice or even the intention behind words. Some examples of verbal abuse include threatening to hurt or kill the victim or his or her children, family, pets, or property or reputation. Name calling. Telling a victim that he or she is unattractive or undesirable. Or yelling, screaming, and using profanity. Emotional abuse is any behavior that exploits another's vulnerability, insecurity, or character. Some examples of emotional abuse include lying and accusations, insulting or criticizing to undermine the victim's self-confidence. This includes public humiliation. Threatening or accusing either directly or indirectly with intention to cause emotional or physical harm or loss. For instance, threatening to kill the victim or themselves or both. Consistently disregarding, ignoring, or neglecting the victim's requests and needs. And lastly, telling the victim they're mentally unstable or incompetent. Sexual abuse is using sex to exploit an individual or forcing sex on another person. Some examples include using force, coercion, or guilt, exploiting a victim who is unable to make an informed decision about involvement in sexual activity, or making contact with the victim in any non-consensual way. Physical abuse is any physically aggressive behavior. This includes indirect physical harmful behavior or threat of physical abuse. Some examples of physical abuse are hitting, kicking, slapping, shaking, choking, pulling hair, threatening with a weapon, or threatening to physically assault. Forcible physical restraint against their will, being trapped in a room, or having the exit blocked. The abuser hitting or kicking walls or doors during an argument, throwing things in anger, or destruction of property. Holding the victim hostage is also an example of physical abuse. Economic control is restricting how the victim acquires, uses, and maintains money and economic resources such as accommodation, food, clothing, and transportation. Some examples of economic control include preventing the victim from being in education or employment, limiting working hours, taking the victim's paycheck, and building up debt in the victim's name. For instance, insisting all bills, credit cards, and loans are in the victim's name. Digital abuse is using technologies such as texting and social networking to bully, harass, and/or stalk a partner. Most victims of domestic violence are women. However, children, teens, and the elderly are also at risk. Some signs that an individual may be a victim of domestic abuse are decline in job or school performance, bruises or other injuries that are unexplained, changes in sleep habits, sleeping too much or not enough, lack of concentration, receives harassing phone calls in the workplace, appears and/or acts anxious, scared, or very cautious, and makes excuses for all the above signs and symptoms that do not make any sense at all. As we are hearing these excuses, try not to judge the victim and consider all the reasons why a victim might not leave or report a situation. For instance, the victim may fear the unknown. What will happen to me and how will this affect my children? What will my life be like? Victims of domestic violence may also be dealing with cultural, family, and social pressures. Domestic violence crosses culture, racial, ethnic, economic, gender, and political boundaries. Domestic violence can occur anytime and anywhere. It is important that we create a supportive environment and community, and explain that there are people who can help. Here's a list of community resources. A trained expert will help you create a safety plan to escape and find solutions that work for you. They can assist you in finding emergency shelter while connecting you with local resources such as legal advocacy, transitional living, and so much more. Remember, I'm here to help. If you need someone to talk to or need help connecting with a community agency, please email me to schedule a student appointment. Take care.